quickly, given how the fact that we've seen these teams, whenever the crunch time hits, they're starting to find their rationales, their ways, their paths to victory. So Tyler's going to shift over and whoa.
Ooh, West Coast circle. Okay. A very West Coast circle. A lot of damage on the field. They've taken out multiple teams. And now it's going to be question mark that needs to move forward. But that forward position from Iononic so strong.
There is so much field in this as well. So you can see a lot of teams just having to navigate where they just don't want to have anything to do with what's going to be going on over there. Danoa trying to play in the dip and the crest right along this so that way they can get some form of safety to work with as they're going to be moving forward. They've got Salute moving in from that western front, and they still have Iononics keeping an eye on what's going on with question mark. This is a very big fight brewing for whoever could qualify.
And just looking at the circle, man, what's available to play, there's a massive ridge in the circle that does lead into those fields. We see Danoa being the benefactors of that, but there's a lot of open space here as well.
Yeah, Gen G is still just trying to hold out what's going to be going on with Belmont, trying to get in. Nades coming out, multiple members of Danoa now starting to get into a more defended position, realizing, okay, we've got to make sure that we contain this. They left Salute back behind, kind of keep an eye on what's going on with the Falcons, making sure that nobody wraps in back behind them, but question mark, they need to brute force their way through this. Meanwhile, Danoa, they're sitting in a much better position right now, but it's just going to be very, very nerve-wracking. They want to make sure that they pick up as many points here as they can. Question marks, though, they lose this, they are going to be in a world of hurt.
They do, however, have a little bit of time here to work with. So because Circle just posted, they have about a minute to figure out how they want to approach this, maybe even get a knock on the side of Danoa. On the flip side of things, Danoa knows that they have a very good ridge to play on the west side, but look at this, Falcons now coming in to exacerbate the issues that Danoa faces.
And this is forcing the other members for Danoa back. Look, they've hopped in their vehicles. They realize the fact that they need to try to make sure that they secure this. This has opened up the door for question mark. Now Falcons having to contend with this, realizing what's going on. Capitan already down.
An unbelievable Falcons now fighting, and that's it. Danoa will be out, and that will be huge. But look, as you said, question mark now with the ability to come forward and play on that ridge right underneath the fields.
Falcons playing for both question mark and Falcons' dreams of making sure that they manage to make it into the grand finals off of that play.
That was such a good window of opportunity to strike on, as we now see the team of Petrichor finding themselves a fantastic position here in the north. Another team, 51 points right on the cusp, 4 still alive. This could be a massive game for the Chinese team.
Expendables and now trying to make sure that they can get some more kills out of it. Gen G right back behind question mark right every single time. Tai Lu presently sitting at 65 points. It looks like somebody could jump them at any given second. Gen G stepping away from this line. They know the fact of what's right below them. They're trying to defend in, but the Expendables coming in from so many different angles. It's going to be question mark also getting some shots into the Falcons in its own fight that's now starting to develop over in the west as Falcons are going to need to be making their way into the zone.
The Expendables stuck at the bottom of this wizard tower, and this is not a great position as they're just trying to find some form of cover from all the utility that's coming out from Gen G. And Molly's as well as Nades. Smokes would even be pretty detrimental as EJ is on the other side of that. But look, Petrichor Road could be huge benefactors of this.
You needed this as much as you could, Petrichor Road. You're suffering from success. You got the good compound. You got the vision. It made everybody fight away from you, and you didn't get the kills that you need. You've got to come alive right now if you want a chance.
They still very much need the kills. I mean, on the backside of where Petrichor's current position is, he could have a very big backstab on them, as that nade should knock DG, and it does. Ike's left will find one.
Is it going to be enough time? They've shifted down. Gen G's backs up against the wall right now. Emmy kind of creeping in back behind them as well. They've got to be cautious. Question mark, though, feeling better and better by the moment with Petrichor Road now having to move out of this position, moving and hunting down these kills. It's opening up more opportunities for question marks to get good firing lines and what's going to be happening next.
The important thing as well for Falcons and Emmy is he's potentially buying them one more placement, which would be huge in making sure that their cushion is going to be enough. But again, as you said, Petrichor pretty much needs to sweep the rest of the circle and win the game if they want any chance of qualifying.
Slowly, everything is starting to come out. Summer has to keep an eye on Emmy back behind him. Let's not forget Falcons. This is everybody in the thick of it, fighting to qualify right now inside this game. Petrichor, the odd team out inside of it if you're looking at it, but question mark, realizing the fact that they've got their opportunities to qualify, it is going to be neck and neck.
Well, don't forget about Gen G. They're just on the cusp as well, and they are still alive. At least a couple members there. I believe they're still a 3-man, so Very winnable, but this is what I was talking about, the backstab from Emmy, and that's going to be devastating to the control that Petrichor had on the circle.
Every point you can get is just another chance at livelihood in the grand finals. Being in that top 8 question mark. Heard that firefight. Now creeping in a doozy slowly and steadily into Emmy's sight lines. Emmy just wanting to try to move into the circle, but you can see near on no cover to had. A doozy is already ready. Nade's going to go out, hit him for about half of his life. He's going to drop down, but question mark doesn't want to commit in. Meanwhile, Petrichor Road still has to deal with this mess of Gen G down to the south, and Gen G doesn't even have a path into the circle that they can work with.
I really like the option to maybe wrap. You see DG98 simply going for the south side, looking for any form of road to play or any form of hay bales. The problem is question mark is right there in the west, and they now have the majority of control of the circle.
They move down into the hay bales. They've got that small ridge that they can play. The fields themselves belong to question mark, but they're going to have to contend against Taman. They're going to have to contend against DG, and if a firefight breaks out, Emmy could pop up at any given moment. EJ's the kind of odd man out, as Petrichor Road does have their vision focused on him, but he's been the sacrificial lamb to allow the other players for Gen G to get away.
Yeah, but he still needs to make some form of a play, right? Gen G is not necessarily out of it yet, and they still very much would like some points here. As Petrichor also, again, they really need to step on the gas here and look for this, but they've been somewhat passive, especially after losing a member from behind, but the trade will be there. Ixlef will find EJ.
Just trying to pick it up, and with those shots, the information fed overlooked that Gen G has now navigated themselves down into the fields. Ixlef has to contend with Emmy's position, but the moment he starts taking in some shots, instead of Doozy realizes where he's going to be at. The dominoes are falling. Everybody is just trying to cling to life. Question mark cannot step into the sightline. Another nade gets so close to taking out Emmy, but he still somehow clings and just dives in. He knows that he has got to get away from them, and it's going to be just shifting down into Petrichor's positioning, but that kill could be massive for them.
Yeah, Mill gets that kill. They will get the point, and they will have the opportunity here to recover just a bit. And as we said, Gen G actually does completely shift down to the south, with EJ being that sacrificial lamb you had mentioned earlier, and so it's still going to be hard. Question mark with so much control of this circle, and they have an entire field to play with, which is Gen G prone down, praying that they get some sort of a reprieve with Petrichor fighting question mark early.
Question mark, though, really isn't inside the circle, and while they do have some defended positions that they can play from, that's why it's gotten so quiet. It's so open. It's so scary. Yeah, Petrichor, yeah, they can path back up in this area that Emmy was at, but Phil First is just waiting patiently for the moment that to happen, and you can see Petrichor, they didn't find the kills that they need, and even if they pick up the remaining kills, I don't think that that's going to be enough at this stage, given the fact that Gen G and question mark are still here.
They need to, I feel like they would need to kill everybody on the field in order to even have a chance of qualifying, and obviously getting the win as well. But any point that question mark takes right now is going to be a point taken away from Petrichor, and the opportunity or the window will be closing if they want to actually make it to the grand finals without going through the lower bracket. And Dante will find DG98 again. That's another point off the board for Petrichor.
Just keeping it cleaner by the second. QM realizing this is their game. Phil First gonna go ahead and start recessing back away from this defended line. Instead, just feed the information over to his teammates. They've got this raised hillside that they can play from, and they're trying to make sure that they exploit Ixlef. Looking back in, Vestalaki is gonna make sure to go ahead and get the flush out onto DG, pick up that point. Taman now ball by himself down to the south, but Petrichor Road prodding, seeing if they can find any way to crest into this field, because look, where the hell do you go if you're Petrichor Road?
There's really not that many spots. They're pretty much just stuck on that ridge. As I'm still very curious how many points Gen G was actually able to accumulate, especially with these placements, if it was enough, as they were just on that cusp.
Ooh, that's big. Mill getting down Phil First means the fact that they have the opportunity to maybe find a pathing into the north of it. A doozy, Dante, both now shifting down directly into the west, means that the north is more open by a long shot.
But wrapping that side, I don't even know if it's feasible now as we go to phase 9, Matt, and in 3 seconds it will start to close. Taman still desperately trying to stay out of sight and out of the fight, and he just wants the third party when the opportunity arises. But he's not even getting a chance. It's now just down to a straight up 3v3, Matt.
Focus coming in from question mark right now. They know that they need to play the game, the best one that they've ever played in their life. They need to secure this victory. They want to go to the grand finals. It is coming up roses for them right now, as it's going to be best of luck that gets the shots into Eggslift, opens up the door. Mill already down to near on no life, but best of luck Dante, both also having to step away, get their meds back into a better position. No cover to be had moving into the circle, but keep in mind, Petrichor Road is slowly and steadily creeping closer and closer to the center dot, while QM still have their backs against the blue zone.
QM is the ones that actually need to make the move now. The onus is onto them, and they are putting some damage into Petrichor, but they have this massive ridge to work with, which is causing a lot of issues here for QM.
Oh my god, Eggslift with that couple of shots, it's going to be enough to open up Mill. He's now creeping in off this one. Petrichor Road is finding an opportunity, and they are trying to exploit it. QM steps out, that's going to be one down in a doozy. The backs against the blue, nowhere to go. Eggslift spots out another, goes for the spray. Dante's still clinging to life, but that's going to be enough to take down another. Dante nowhere to go, and Petrichor Road has just taken dominant control of that. That shield's not going to be enough. He does manage to get down Mill, but in the end, it ends up Petrichor Road.
But the question remains, Matt, was it enough? Were they able to get enough kills to actually punch their ticket? We saw them earlier in that fight just with the